guest tonight is an Emmy-winning and Oscar and Grammy-nominated actor, producer, writer, and vocalist who has built an animated comedy empire with shows like Family Guy, American Dad, The Cleveland Show, and the Ted franchise. A lot of good stuff. The second season of his series, Ted, is streaming now on Peacock. Let's take a look.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Sure.
I mean, you're so gorgeous. You could have any guy you want. Why me?
Can I confide in you?
You can do anything you want in me.
I learned on a teddy bear. He was soft and cuddly, but had this hard little nose.
Well, I'll tell you, my nose is rock hard right now.
You know what? I think that's enough talking.
Please welcome back to the show, Seth MacFarlane, everybody. I'm great. It's great to see you again.
It's always a pleasure.
Congratulations are in order.
What?
You won. Recently were honored with the Nielsen, which does the television ratings, Nielsen Streaming Icon of the Year.
What's that?
Well, it seems like it might reward the fact that like people watch the out of your show.
You know, it's interesting. Can you say that on TV now?
Yeah, I think so. We just watched a bear go down on someone in a bathtub.
Okay, so you're.
I would like to not hear it from you, sir.
You ain't gonna hear that from me, my friend. Yeah, no, that award sounds like. First of all, I'm honored to get it.
Yeah.
But it was also the first I'd heard of it.
Yes.
You know, does it smell a little bit like best hand turkey?
Yeah, it does.
A little bit, but
you got to work hard to get those deals raised. So it matters. So this is, I mean, obviously two great Ted movies, and then you had this idea to do a prequel.
I mean, one great Ted movie, but yeah.
But then you wanted to do a prequel. Like, what made you want to do a prequel to the Ted movies?
You know,
because this takes place in the 90s.
It helped that I was under a fantastic overall deal and was asked by the company.
Yeah. Right.
That went a long way.
You had to provide something.
I did. No, it was actually Universal's idea.
Oh wow.
Susan Rovner came to me and said, "What about a Ted TV series?" And I said, "You know what that would cost?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll do it, but only if he looks as good as he did in the films." And to their credit, they stepped up, and you know, it's a fantastic visual effects team.
It also maybe looks a little bit better. I mean, again, you know, it's 10 years into the future. Like the effects are better, so
it's a little better.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, I think like people might be surprised to hear this, but when you're pitching the Ted movie, obviously. You have successful shows on television, and yet it was a very hard sell when you were taking this idea out.
It was, yeah. An R-rated comedy about a teddy bear that uses words like the one you just used.
Yeah.
Was a tough.
I mean, now that when you said it like that, I'm like, yeah, of course it was. Like, I don't know why. I mean, it makes sense when you see it because it's so audacious. But I get that.
Yeah.
Like to give credit to studio execs, I get why they might have had trepidation.
Yeah, there were a lot of iterations of the film. At one point, it was going to be a hand puppet like Greg the Bunny.
Right.
There was a version where it was PG-13. It was a lot of kind of trepidation, and then Universal, our buddies Donna Langley and Peter Kramer. Said, you know, let's do this, to hell with it. If we lose a pile of money, who cares? That's the kind of people they are.
Yeah. And fortunately, it paid off for them.
Succeed.
I was very surprised to hear, this is a movie I actually love, that this was the inspiration for Ted.
Yes.
Is this 1988 film, Alien Nation, Mandy Patinkin and James Caan. They are police officers, one of whom is an alien.
Mm-hmm.
This, when you say like, oh, obviously this led to Ted.
Right.
But there's a key element of this.
Yeah, it's like Lethal Weapon, but like one of them is Spock.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about that movie, for those of you who have not seen the movie, Alien Nation takes place 5 years after aliens have landed on Earth, and it's the point at which nobody really cares anymore.
Right. Because that is the joy of Ted, is like, not every scene does not require ever to be like, what's going on here?
We wanted to be able to treat it like the Muppets, where it's like they're just walking around, it's a frog, it talks, nobody gives it. But it's look, I did the work for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You guys don't even have to hit that
That's
little
good, because we only pay for 2 a show, so.
Well, they are unionized now.
Yeah. So real quick, you're also working on a Ted animated series. This seems like it would be an easy sell, considering Ted's a hit and your animated work is a hit.
Yes. Mark Wahlberg, Amanda Seyfried, Jessica Barth, our whole cast from the films are back along with Liz Richmond and Kyle Mooney.
Fantastic. Kyle's
Fabulous
we're a
Kyle
big
Mooney.
fan of Kyle over here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it picks up where the second film, which did not do as well as the first film, left off. So it's really what people are clamoring for.
Yeah. I like that you're like, we're doing a prequel, we're doing a postquel, we're throwing it all out there, baby.
Anything but living in the present.
By the way, I mean, it's really, I know you've, it almost seems crazy to keep saying it, but this is 24 years of Family Guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
22 of American Dad. We're like 850 total episodes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
You would think I would be happy.
that was my next question, yeah. It is always
If
nice.
that makes any of you feel any better, it doesn't make you any less miserable.
Because you do, I mean, I will speak from experience. You do think you're just one bad show from everybody being like, it was all a fraud.
Exactly. That is exactly
That's how
right.
we just live
That is
every
exactly
day.
right. I think, though, there is a way that keeps you doing your best. I have like a weird
Yes.
love-hate relationship with that philosophy.
Right.
Because I do think if you're convinced that you're going to fail, which I always am,
Yep.
it pushes you not to fail, and maybe there's a positive there.
Well, that is the nice thing when people watch. I'm sure when people watch Family Guy, they're like, "Oh my God, it must have been so much fun to make," and like you're here to tell them, like, not even a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Has the process changed in all the years of like how long does an episode take to make?
A Family Guy?
Yeah.
A year.
A year.
A year.
But it really does, right?
One episode takes a year.
And you've never squeezed it down to any less.
We haven't.
Yeah.
No, everything is still hand drawn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the process is the same way it's been done forever. There has yet to be a computer program or an AI, whatever you call it, that can make Family Guy look like Family Guy.
Yeah.
There may be in the future, but I think we're a ways away from it.
And it matters. It matters how it
does.
looks.
It
And
does.
you were at RISD, Rhode Island School of
Yes,
Design, and that's
I was.
where you sort of started your early Family Guy was based on like short films you made
Mm-hmm.
at RISD. And I'm wondering, I mean, first of all, the talent is on display. We know you had a skill at this.
Yes.
What did people at RISD think when you were doing that? I think of RISD as maybe a little bit more highbrow.
God, you know what I think of when I look at this? I did this in my dorm this was my student film in college. Cell animation, pencil backgrounds.
Yeah.
And there was one night I had perhaps done this particular drawing, and I had like a cup full of pencils with a point sticking up. And I was on like a loft bed in my room, and I got down in the middle of the night with a few drinks in me because after all it was college.
Yeah.
Not like today. And just stepped foot first.
God.
Foot first. Oh, it was awful. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
The fact that you're still doing hand drawn after that
Yeah,
happened to you.
I was
yeah.
walking around with a cane for like 2 weeks, and I kind of dug it. I was like,
I like that that's like, because there's no robust sports program at RISD, when you see someone with a cane, you're like, he stepped on
did have a
pencils.
hockey team.
You did have a hockey team.
There was a hockey team at RISD, I'm not making this up, called the Nads. You do not have to go far to know why they were called the Nads, because what do you cheer?
Oh my God.
Go Nads.
You had a comedy hockey team.
Look, I know you're a highbrow show here.
All right, I have more to ask you. We'll be right back
right.
with Seth MacFarlane. Welcome back. We're here with Seth MacFarlane. You was telling me a very interesting. Usually people don't tell interesting stories during the commercial break, but you really were.
Oh, yeah. To be continued.
Okay. Hey,
Really? You want me to finish telling?
yeah, well, tell me. You started from the beginning.
The day that Ted 2 came out was the day, I believe, that and tell me if I'm pronouncing this right, because you're the smart one. The Obergefell v. Hodges case came down.
Yeah, okay.
Supreme Court legalizing same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to tweet, hey, what a great victory for same-sex couples. Come see Ted 2 to celebrate as he fights for his rights.
People, it was a. I remember.
First time you've laughed all
Yeah.
night. You know how.
That was the first time people started selling their tickets back.
Exactly.
Fandango did a buyback
And of
program.
course, the social media hornet's nest immediately descended. And I was like, okay, that might have been a
I can't believe you still. I mean, it's crazy after
miscalculation.
you've established
Yeah.
your sense of humor that people are still oversensitive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's always room for Jell-O.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, you produced one of my favorite movies last year.
Yes, sir.
Naked Gun. So exciting. Our friend Akiva Schaffer directed it.
Akiva Schaffer.
It was your idea to put Liam Neeson in it, and which is the craziest thing, because every time I told people before they knew about this, I'm like, Liam Neeson is going to do The Naked Gun. And everybody was like, you mean Leslie Nielsen? And I'm like, no, Liam Neeson. Be honest,
Who are your friends that you had to explain that?
But did you have the idea based on the fact that his name is really the closest name we have to Leslie Nielsen?
It's the key to those movies to me was that there was a certain type of actor that existed at that time that was so just like on steroidal gravitas.
Yes.
And it this Gregory Peck, Robert Mitchum kind of thing. Look him up. And Liam Neeson is kind of the only guy left that still embodies that sort of persona, but is still very earnest and very real and very authentic.
Yeah. And underneath it is a man with a great sense of humor, which helps a lot too.
Yes, and a sweet guy.
Yeah, very sweet guy.
Yeah.
You use full orchestras to score your movies.
I do.
That's something you've always done.
Yeah.
Is that as exciting as it seems to go in a room? Because I know they project the movie on a giant screen while you have a full orchestra.
It's not only is it as exciting, it's the most fun part of the process.
Is it really?
It's the only time I don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's like for every piece of filmmaking that goes into making a TV show or a film, I now kind of know how the soup is made. And that's the one part where I have no idea how these composers write these scores in 8 weeks. No clue. Even for Family Guy, we use about a 55 to 65 piece orchestra every week. Those little play-ons when they cut to the Griffin's house, that's like, boom. That's like a 55 piece orchestra. That's amazing. So,
gosh, you really haven't leaned down at all.
No. And Disney just loves it.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it is amazing, and especially when anything you watch without music behind it, like you just realize how much of television, how much of film is just like elevated by the the quality of the composition. So.
I remember hearing a story, which may be apocryphal, that Star Wars was submitted to the studio without music, and they said, this is terrible. And then they gave it to John Williams, and he scored it, and then they submitted it again without changing a frame, and they said, this is great. So yes.
You took all our notes.
Yes.
You're a man who knows a fair amount about music. You have a new album.
You had me at you're a man, but go ahead.
Lush Life. So these are some Frank Sinatra songs, but these are not ones we've heard before. These are lost.
No.
So how did you get your hands on lost Frank Sinatra songs?
When Frank Sinatra Jr. Was alive, he used to come do Family Guy periodically.
Right.
And when he passed away, he was the steward of the Library of Sinatra charts. It came into the possession of Tina Sinatra, and she called me one day, Frank's sister, and said, would you like to acquire these things? And I said, absolutely. It was about 1,200 boxes worth of orchestration.
Really?
And most of them were things that you have heard. It was, the famous recordings. But there were about 70 arrangements in there that had never been recorded. There was a song that was cut from the Come Fly With Me album, a song that was cut from the Only the Lonely album. Look it up. And so it's like if you're a Beatles fan, it's like finding a Lennon song or a McCartney song written in the late 60s.
And do you have an eye for it? Were you like finding it, or were other people tasked?
We had an archivist that was there kind of helping us look through it.
And was there like gasps when you realized there was like, hey, this is one we've never heard before?
Yeah, there was a day we hired an orchestra and went over to the Fox lot and just, had these boxes, pulled out these yellowed charts, and just, because you don't really know until you play them.
Right.
And set them down on the music stands, and the orchestra started playing them, and it was chilling because it's a sound that you know from, I've Got You Under My Skin and all these great Sinatra songs, but it was like, wow, this is new.
Yeah.
This has been sitting in a box for, the better part of a century, and we're just now hearing it played live. It was pretty special.
Well, you're a fantastic steward for it. I'm really glad it found its way into your hands. That's very cool.
Well,
and it makes it both your parents musical?
Yes.
Okay.
My dad in particular, yes.
Okay. And was he was an educator?
Yeah, between LSD tabs, yeah, he was.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that the unit? Is it a tab?
It is a tab.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Well, how did you know that?
Oh, he's wearing a wire. Oh no, these are our mics. These are our mics. Never mind.
My dad auditioned for Hair in the 70s.
Oh wow, he was that kind of dude.
Big time hippie. Yeah. I think at one point he had, as he tells it, he had the cops parked out in front of his apartment when he was in his 20s because, quote unquote, my sideburns were too long. Like, I wonder if that was all that was going on.
Also, I want to close with Orville. Fantastic show. Fourth season. Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Is it not?
Thank you.
Thank you for that far smaller applause.
It's written. The 10 episodes are written.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah, no, the writing's the worst part. The only reason it's worth writing is to
Yes.
know one day you'll be done.
What's the Harold Ramis quote? There is no joy in writing. There is great joy in having written.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
Truer words. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Congrats
Thanks
on
for
everything.
having
It's
me.
always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane, everybody's second season of Ted is streaming now on Peacock. We'll be right back with more Late Night.